Welcome to the students of 2nd PUC. This is session 8 of chapter 7 alternating current. In this session we will be solving some numericals related to the chapter alternating current. Let me begin. Here is the first numerical. A 100 ohm resistor is connected to a 220 volt 50 hertz AC supply. What is the RMS value of current in the circuit and what is the net power consumed over a full cycle? So let us begin. Let us note down the data given. We have a circuit in which a 100 ohm resistor is present. The circuit has a power supply which is AC power supply providing 220 volt, and the frequency of the AC supply is 50 hertz. We are supposed to find the RMS value of the current and the net power or the average power consumed over one complete cycle. So let us start. Whenever they say that the power supplied by the AC supply is 220 volts, which means it is the RMS value and not the peak value. If it is the peak value, then it will be mentioned as peak value, whereas RMS value they may not mention as the RMS value of the supply. If they are telling the supply AC supply is 220 volts, it is understood it is an RMS value. So let us solve this numerical now. The RMS value of the current, which you can also note down as small I subscript RMS, is going to be equal to the RMS value of voltage divided by the impedance, as the AC circuit contains only a resistance. So instead of impedance I can note down resistance R. So this is going to be 220 volt divided by 100 ohm. So 220 divided by 100, we will get it as 2.20 ampere. So we have found out the current. The second part, the net power consumed over one complete cycle is going to be V into I, or you can also note down them as Vrms into Irms. So this is going to be 220 volts into 2.20 ampere. The unit for power is going to be watt. On calculating, we would get power P is equal to 484 watt. So we have finished solving the first numerical. Let us solve the next one. This is the second numerical. The peak value of an AC supply is 300 volt. What is the RMS voltage? The second sub question. The RMS value of current in an AC circuit is 10 ampere. What is the peak current? It's a very simple numerical. Let us note down the data given. They have given us the peak value of the voltage. So peak value, I will note that as V naught, which is 300 volt. In the second sub question, they have given us the RMS value of current, I RMS, which is 10 amperes. We are supposed to find, so we need to find the RMS value of the voltage and the peak value of the current. It's a very simple question. Vrms is given by peak value divided by root 2, or the other way I can write this as 1 by root 2 is 0.707 into the peak value. So this is going to give me 0.707 into 300 volt. On calculations, we will get this as 212.1 volt. The second sub question, we are supposed to find the peak value of the current. I RMS is 0.707 times the value of the peak current. So what does this mean? This means the peak current is going to be IRMS divided by 0.707. So this is going to give me 10 ampere divided by 0.707. On calculation, I'll get it as 14.14 ampere. So we have solved the second numerical. Let us proceed further. Here is the third numerical. A 44 millihenry inductor is connected to 220 volt 50 hertz AC supply. Determine the RMS value of the current in the circuit. Let us note down the data given. In the third numerical, an AC circuit having an inductor is been provided. The value of the inductance is 44 millihenry. Milli is 10 to the power minus 3. The RMS value of the AC supply is 220 volt. I can either write small v subscript RMS or equivalently capital V. The frequency of the AC supply is 50 hertz. We are supposed to find the RMS value of the current. So let us proceed. We know that the peak value of the current is given by peak value of the voltage divided by inductive reactance. If there is an inductor in a AC circuit, then the opposition for the flow of AC current here is called as inductive reactance. We are supposed to find the RMS value of the current. So I can directly write, instead of the peak value of current, as the RMS value of current, which I can also represent by capital I, is going to be the RMS value of the voltage divided by inductive reactance. So this is going to be equal to 220 volt divided by 2 pi f into L. The inductive reactance is given by 2 pi f L, and this is going to have the unit of an ohm. So this is 220 volt divided by 2 into 3.14 is 6.28. Frequency is 50 hertz. L, the inductance, is 44 into 10 to the power minus 3. The unit of the current is going to be ampere. So this is going to be equal to 220 volt divided by, on calculation, 13816 into 10 to the power of minus 3 ampere. Let us further solve this. On calculating this, I will get the answer as 0.0159 into 10 to the power minus 3 in the denominator is going to become 10 to the power plus 3 in the numerator. So finally this is going to be 15.9 ampere. So we have found the RMS value of the current. Let us proceed. Here is the fourth numerical. A 60 microfarad capacitor is connected to a 110 volt 60 hertz AC supply. Determine the RMS value of the current in the circuit. So let us note down the data. In numerical 4, a AC circuit with a capacitor is been mentioned. The capacity of the capacitor is 60 microfarad. Micro is 10 to power minus 6. The RMS value of the voltage is 110 volt and the frequency of the AC supply is 60 Hertz. We are supposed to find the RMS value of the current in the circuit. So we know that the RMS value of the current, which I can also represent by capital I, is going to be equal to RMS value of the voltage divided by capacitive reactance. The AC circuit contains a capacitor, so I is going to be V divided by the capacitive reactance. Here the capacitive reactance is 1 divided by 2 pi Fc, that is, this is going to be V divided by capacitive reactance is 1 divided by 2 pi Fc. So on further simplification, we are going to get this as 2 pi Fc into V. So let us solve now. 2 pi is 6.28 into the frequency in this case is 60 Hertz. Capacity is 60 microfarad, so 60 into 10 to power minus 6 into the voltage is 110 volts and the SI unit for current is going to be ampere. So let us calculate. So we will get the value as 2486.880 into 10 to power minus 6 ampere. 10 to power minus 6, so shift the decimal place 6 places to left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is very nearly equal to 2.49 amperes. So this is the RMS value of the current in the circuit. We proceed further. Here is the fifth numerical. A coil of inductance 0.50 Henry and resistance 100 ohm is connected to a 240 volt 50 Hertz AC supply. What is the maximum current in the coil? Second question. What is the time lag between the voltage maximum and the current maximum? So let us note down the data given. This is the data given in this numerical. A coil is present in a AC circuit whose inductance is 0.50 Henry, and this coil is not an ideal coil, it also has some resistance. The resistance of the coil is 100 ohm. This has been connected to an AC supply of 240 volts and 50 Hertz. We are supposed to find the maximum value of the current and the time lag between the maximum of the voltage and the maximum of the current. So let us begin. For an AC circuit where there is an inductance, the voltage in the circuit is given by V is equal to V0 sin omega t, then the current in the same circuit would be given by I is equal to I0 sin of omega t minus phi. In an inductive circuit, the current lags behind the voltage by a phase difference phi or by a phase angle phi. And further here the maximum current is given by the voltage maximum divided by the total impedance of the circuit, which is going to be R square plus XL square. Also the phase difference phi is given by tan inverse of inductive reactance divided by resistance. These equations can be got from the explanation of series LCR circuit. There in series LCR circuit, along with the inductor and resistor, there was also a capacitor. Here you do not have the capacitor, just take out the terms related to capacitor. We will get the equation for maximum current and phase difference. Now to find the peak value of the current and the phase difference, we need to find the inductive reactance. Also the question asked is to find the maximum current and also the time lag or the time difference between the maximum of the voltage and maximum of the current. So how to find the time difference? The time difference is given by the relation phi by omega, where phi is the phase angle and omega is the angular frequency, which is got by 2 pi f. Now let us find out the inductive reactance. Inductive reactance XL is given by 2 pi f into L. So this is going to be equal to 2 into pi, 6.28. Frequency is 50 hertz and inductance is 0.50 Henry. The unit for capacitive reactance is ohm. So further I would get this as 6.28 50 into 0.5 is 25 ohm, which is going to be equal to 157 ohm. We have inductive reactance. Now we can find root of R square plus XL square, which will give us the impedance. Therefore, root of R square plus XL square. So this is equal to root of R is 100 square plus 157 square. On simplifying this, we will get this answer as 186.14 ohm. Now we got the value of root of R square plus XL square. So using this, let us find out the maximum current. Finally, the maximum value of current in the circuit is I naught, which is equal to V naught by the impedance 186.14 ohm. Further, the peak value of the voltage is the RMS value divided by 0.707. Therefore, I can write this as V divided by 0.707 into 186.14 ampere. The RMS value of voltage is 240 divided by 0.707 into 186.14 ampere. On simplifying this, we will get the answer as the maximum value of current is equal to 1.82 ampere. So we have found the maximum value of the current. Now we are left with finding the time lag between the voltage and the current in the circuit. If V is maximum at a time t is equal to 0, then the current is maximum at a time t dash, which will be equal to phi by omega. To find the time lag phi by omega, we are supposed to find phi first. So phi is given by the phase angle phi is equal to tan inverse of XL by R. So this is tan inverse of XL, we had calculated earlier, is 157 divided by R is 100. This will give you tan inverse of 1.57. Using your mathematical table, you can find out what is tan inverse of 1.57 and we will get the value very nearly. Phi is very nearly equal to 57.5 degree, and this is in degrees, which is not an SI unit. Convert it to SI unit, that is into radians. So this is going to be equal to 57.5 into pi by 180 radians. Now using this, let us calculate the time lag. The time lag, which is phi by omega, is going to be 57.5 into pi by 180, omega is 2 pi f. So pi and pi get cancelled. We will get this as 57.5. 180 into 2 is 360. Frequency is 50 hertz. So the answer is going to be 0.00319 seconds, which is very nearly equal to 3.2 milliseconds. We have completed the numerical. Before going into the next one, we will make a statement at the end. The maximum current in the coil is 1.82 amperes and the current lags the voltage in the circuit by 3.2 milliseconds. So this will complete this numerical. We will proceed to the next one. Here is your next numerical. Obtain the resonant frequency and Q factor of a series LCR circuit with the inductance L is equal to 3.0 Henry, capacitance C is equal to 27 microfarad and resistance R is equal to 7.4 ohm. It is desired to improve the sharpness of the resonance of the circuit by reducing its full width at half maximum by a factor of 2. Suggest a suitable way. Well, you may have to read this question again and again before starting to solve it. Why? Because the second part of the question tells it is desired to improve the sharpness of the resonance of the circuit by reducing its full width at half maximum by a factor of 2. So you need to understand this. Full width at half maximum, that means bandwidth. So they are asking us to increase the resonance by reducing the bandwidth to half the initial value. So let us begin. The data given in this numerical is, we have a LCR circuit where inductance is 3 Henry, capacitance is 27 microfarad, micro is 10 to the power minus 6, resistance is 7.4 ohm. In this condition, we are supposed to find the resonant frequency and the quality factor. Then after this, we are supposed to increase this quality factor. How? They have given us a clue that the bandwidth in the next case will have to be half the bandwidth in the first case. So let us begin. The resonant frequency is given by 1 by 2 pi root LC. So let us find out this, which is 1 divided by 2 pi is 6.28 into root of L is 3, C is 27 micro, so 27 into 10 to the power minus 6, 1 divided by 6.28. 3 times of 27 will give us 81, root of 81 will give us 9. Therefore, here in the denominator we get 6.28 into 9 into 10 to the power of minus 3. Root of 10 to the power minus 6 is 10 to the power minus 3. On simplifying this, we will get the resonant frequency as 0.0177 into 10 to the power minus 3 in the denominator becomes 10 to the power plus 3. So this is 17.7 hertz. We have found out the resonant frequency. Now we are supposed to find the quality factor. Quality factor, which is Q, is given by 1 by R into root of L by C. So that is going to be equal to 1 divided by R is 7.4 to root of 3 divided by 27 into 10 to power minus 6. Further, 3 by 27 is nothing but 1 by 9 to 10 to power minus 6. 3 9s is 27. So, further simplifying this, we will get it as, we will get the answer as 1.74 root of 9 is 3, root of 10 to power minus 6 is 10 to power minus 3, and finally we will get the answer as 45. So, we have found the quality factor, the last part of the question. Now, we are supposed to increase the quality factor by decreasing the bandwidth to half the value. So, let us continue. We will take the equations for quality factor. We will consider two equations. So, we know that quality factor is given by the resonant frequency divided by bandwidth. Also, quality factor is given by 1 by R into root of L by C. If you equate these two, you will find that resonant frequency by bandwidth is equal to 1 by R into root of L by C. So, rearrange this. If you rearrange this, you will get bandwidth is equal to R, the resistance R by resonant frequency into root of C by L. For a given resonant frequency, C, L and Fr are constants. So, if you want to change the bandwidth, then you have to change the resistance. Here bandwidth is directly proportional to resistance. Therefore, I will continue this. So, this implies for a given resonant frequency, bandwidth is directly proportional to resistance Vw2. The bandwidth in second case by bandwidth in first case is going to be equal to R2 by R1. Further, so if you want to change the bandwidth, you have to change the resistance. We know R1, which is 7.4 ohm. So, which implies R2 is going to be equal to the ratio of the bandwidths into the initial resistance. So, this is half of R1, which is half of 7.4 ohm. So, R2 will give you 3.7 ohm. So, finally, we will conclude that if you want to increase the sharpness or decrease the bandwidth by a factor 2, then change the resistance to 3.7 ohm. Let us conclude. To double the quality factor without changing the resonant frequency, change the resistance to 3.7 ohms. So, that is it. We will proceed further. Here is the next numerical. A power transmission line feeds input power at 2300 volt to a step down transformer with its primary windings having 4000 turns. What should be the number of turns in the secondary in order to get output power at 230 volt? So, this is related to transformers. It is a very simple numerical. So, let us begin. In this numerical, they have said that the voltage across the primary is 2300 volts and the number of turns in the primary is 4000 turns. They have given the voltage across the secondary, which is 230 volt. We are supposed to find what is the number of turns in the secondary coil. By remembering the theory of the transformers, we can write the ratio of the secondary voltage to the primary voltage is equal to the ratio of the number of turns in the secondary by number of turns in the primary. So, on rearranging, we will get the number of turns in the secondary as equal to Vs by Vp into Np. So, this is the voltage in the secondary is 230 volt. The voltage in the primary is 2300 into the number of turns in the primary is 4000. 230 divided by 2300 will give us 0.1 into 4000 will give us 400. Therefore, the secondary coil has 400 turns. So, that is all for this session. Thank you.